My professor had a policy that being 1 second late meant a 0 for the day, so I made sure he experienced his own policy when it mattered most. Professor Hayward taught Economics 301, and he had one rule that mattered more than anything. If you entered his classroom even 1 second after 9 a.m., you got a 0 for the day. No exceptions. 1 second. He had a digital clock mounted above the door that synced with atomic time. 8:59:59 was acceptable. 9 Gagarin was a 0. I watched him fail a student named Rebecca, who arrived at 9:02 because the elevator got stuck. Should have taken the stairs, he said. David got a 0 at 9:01 because someone in a wheelchair needed help with a door. Hayward didn't care. Your poor planning doesn't constitute an exception. Sarah got a 0 when her bus broke down. She showed him the transit authority's incident report. He shrugged. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The class was worth 400 points total. Each of the 40 classes was worth 10 points just for attendance. Get marked late once, you've lost 10 points. That could drop you a full letter grade. Hayward had failed 23 students over 2 semesters. I started arriving at 8:30 a.m. every day. Sat outside his classroom for 30 minutes just to avoid the risk. So did half the class. We'd sit in the hallway like refugees, afraid to grab coffee or use the bathroom. Hayward loved it. This is what discipline looks like, he'd say, walking past us with his Starbucks. He'd stroll in at 8:58 a.m. every day. Casual, relaxed. Finals week changed everything. The final exam was worth 200 points, half our grade. Hayward announced it would be on Tuesday, May 3rd at 9 a.m. sharp. Same late policy applies. 9 Gaito 1 means you get a 0 on the final, which means you fail the class. A 0 on the final meant automatic failure. 20 students would lose their scholarships. I'd lose my financial aid. That Tuesday, I arrived at 7:45 a.m. By 8:30 a.m., all 38 students were sitting in the hallway. By 8:50 a.m., we were checking the clock every few seconds. 8:55 a.m., still no Hayward. 8:57 a.m., people started getting nervous. Where is he? 8:58 a.m., still no Hayward. My heart was pounding. 8:59 a.m., someone tried the classroom door. Locked. 8:59:30. We were all standing now. 8:59:45. 8:59:55. Someone ran to check the department office. 9 Diaro. Hayward wasn't there. At 9:02 a.m., he came running down the hallway, Starbucks in hand, out of breath. Sorry, traffic on I-95. Accident backed everything up. Professor, I said. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. What time is it? He checked his watch. 9:02. I know, unusual, but your classroom policy states that if you're late, you receive a 0 for the day. His face went pale. That's for students. The syllabus says anyone entering after 9 a.m. receives a 0. It doesn't say students only. I showed him the screenshot. Page 3, section 4. Anyone. Don't be ridiculous. You gave Rebecca a 0 at 9:02. You're at 9:02. Same rule. Other students were pulling out their phones, taking photos of the time, time-stamped evidence. This is different. I'm the professor. The rule doesn't say except the professor. You've told us all semester that rules apply equally. No exceptions. Hayward's face was red. You failed 23 students for being late. You told David that poor planning isn't an excuse. He unlocked the door. Everyone inside now. Professor, if we go in, does that mean the late policy doesn't apply today? Because if it doesn't apply, then it hasn't applied fairly all semester. Someone had already emailed the department chair. She arrived at 9:07 a.m. I showed her the photos, the timestamps, the syllabus. Professor Hayward arrived at 9:02. His own policy states anyone late gets a 0. The department chair read the policy. Is this accurate? It's meant for students. It says anyone. She turned to us. The final will be rescheduled under a different proctor. Professor Hayward, my office. Hayward got suspended for the remainder of the semester. The late policy was removed from all future syllabi, and I kept the screenshot of that clock showing 9:02, just to remember that rules really do apply equally.